Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
Yes, Democrats are getting sleepless night because Trump is draining the swamp. When I take a look at what is going on, they can't even sleep. They are melting down. This one is saying this, saying that at the end of the day, they will be okay. The truth has been exposed. A lot of these things were happening. We didn't even know until now. There is something these people are forgetting. Elon Musk is employed under Trump, according to an article recently published by CNN, with no salary. So these people say, oh, Elon Musk is doing this, having access into this bullshit. At a certain point, when I look at what is happening.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. Audit USAID, then shut it down. As of this writing, when you attempt to access the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID website or social media pages, you are informed that this site can't be reached. The media reports that the new Trump administration has not only frozen USAID activities, but may be planning on bringing it back under control of the U.S. State Department. Other reports, including statements by Elon Musk, suggest that it will be closed completely. If true, the closing of USAID may be one of the most significant changes President Trump has made among the many dramatic actions in his first couple of weeks in office. Many Americans may still have the idea that USAID is a government agency delivering relief at disaster site overseas. They may still remember the bags of rice or grain with the USAID logo on them, but that is not USAID. USAID is a key component of the U.S. government's regime change operations worldwide. USAID spends billions of dollars every year propping up NGOs overseas that function as shadow governments, eating away at elected governments that the U.S. interventionists want to overthrow. Behind most U.S. foreign policy disasters overseas, you will see the fingerprints of USAID. From Ukraine to Georgia and far beyond, USAID is meddling in the internal affairs of foreign countries, something that would infuriate Americans if it was happening to us. When President Trump ordered a 90-day pause in USAID activities, we quickly learned just how pernicious the agency really is.
Yes, when I saw what these people were doing when this was created, this Doge, they said it is ineffective. Oh, this is no government. Oh, this, insulted Elon Musk to a certain level. They first started by creating, like struggling to create a problem between the two. It didn't work out. Now they are changing their narrative. The media meltdown proves Elon Musk and Trump hit them at the right place where it hurt. When I look at the whole situation, Ron Johnson outlining what they have been doing, you should clearly see the truth here. They can't deny that. You saw the White House press secretary reading where your money is going. At a certain point, you will agree with what Elon Musk is doing. They thought we never had proofs. I saw people demonstrating today like, Elon Musk locked out this, Elon Musk is.
Everyone can look this up if you're listening right now. In 2021, the U.S. Special Forces Perspective, under Mark Milley, our chairman of the Joint Chiefs, put out an entire instruction manual for how the U.S. military can work with the State Department and our intelligence services to organize a rent-a-riot, to destabilize a country in order to bring them to the negotiating table. They gave an example of a hypothetical West African country where a member of U.S. Special Forces is on a separate mission, driving down a highway, and notices a billboard for Chinese infrastructure investment into a new port in this Western African country. The unit takes note of this billboard on a highway in Western Africa with Chinese symbols on it. They do their own investigation and figure out that this is part of a real estate development project from Chinese investors, that as part of that development project will have the construction of a Chinese naval port in this West African country, where in theory China would then be able to project naval influence in the Atlantic Ocean. What the Special Forces Guide calls for is coordination with the State Department, coordination with our intelligence services, coordination with our psychological operations unit to take all of our assets in that West African region. And in that case, what they did is they planned to work with the unions. What they did is they embarked in a social media influence campaign. They would activate all their media assets, all of their civil society institutional assets, and all of their union assets to have the union labor pool in that West African country. Well, actually, there was one thing that happened first, is they first then went, in this hypothetical, the State Department sent a delegation to persuade the West African country to forbid the development license to the Chinese developer. And the head of that West African government said no. Because something was happening in the hypothetical in the next 30 days, there was a time sensitivity to generate an instability event to stop this using time-sensitive emergency. And so the way they generated that was they worked with their union contacts in the region and the media contacts in the region and created this whole social media campaign to inflame the sentiments of the West African labor union workforce who were working for Chinese companies at the time. Because in this hypothetical, the Chinese mining firms and Chinese industry, was employing a lot of these Africans. And it was to destabilize the country, to bring the mines, to bring the factories, to bring all of the Chinese production in the region to a halt, and to put all these Africans out of jobs, and to bring the African government effectively to a standstill at the same time in their own special forces.
Yes, these are just some things that these people spend money on. It is sad that the truth is coming out, but now nobody was bold enough to actually take these actions until Trump came in. When you take a look at this, the most hysterical take of the night came from CNN Van Jones, who claimed that Trump is telling the rest of the world to die by adding oversight to USD. Another person, Jen Psaki, in an equally ridiculous media moment, former White House press secretary Jen Psaki suggested that Elon Musk targeted USD because he was uncomfortable with how the agency combated corruption. What corruption if you are using money doing your insane things? In another segment, President Trump has moved to dismantle USD, merging into the State Department under Marco Rubio to enforce oversight, stop taxpayers' dollars from fueling corruption, and ensure USAID saves American interests. This is Joy Behar, Joy Real, melting down about the same thing.
We can brag on Marco Rubio. I'd be happy to do it, but I'm going to tell you right now, people are going to die in very large numbers around the world who are expecting the United States to live up to our promises to get them medicine, to get them help. And when that happens, people are going to remember that. There are people right now who have HIV who are alive only because the United States is making sure of that. Donald Trump says, we don't care. You go die. That's the message from the United States government. It is the wrong message to be sending, and it opens up the door for China and other people to say, at least we're a stable government who's not going to leave you out here to die. That's this is not an abstract conversation for people around the world.
Unelected best friend, Elon Musk. His latest target was the United States Agency for International Development. And that agency is the one that not only leads on humanitarian assistance around the world, but also works to combat corruption and foreign aid programs. It's a big part of what they do.
But we begin tonight with a full-on crisis in our democracy, as federal workers are literally locked out of their offices while operatives working for a private citizen essentially take over our government. Their tactics include turning off our federal websites, deleting government-funded research that you, the taxpayer, paid for to impose speech codes, bullying news organizations by demanding interview transcripts, implementing an FBI purge, locking federal workers out of their computers, and even turning them away at their offices while giving themselves, without congressional or any other authorization.
Hey guys, today is February 3rd. It's been since January 24th since the House has been in session, and the Democrats have been home the entire time, the last 10 days that all this stuff's going on. Okay, here's an idea. I'm sick of typing this out, so here's an idea, guys. How about all these agencies where employees are being locked out of, how about you send members of Congress with those employees to walk them into work, or just send members of Congress to go into the building and investigate what these people are doing. Dare them to stop you because they can't. Okay, that's a free idea. Why is it that the former Republicans are the ones that are coming up with all the ideas? Get out there and do something. You're in the minority. Your message is your weapon. Use your message. Quit staying at home.
At the end of the day, I just realized this is propaganda. They don't even report the truth. A number of these people came out today to demonstrate.
Really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. When you gut the Constitution and you install yourself as the sole power, that is how dictators are made. What Trump and Elon and all of their cronies are trying to do is take away the constitutional power of Congress. I am exceptionally upset about USAID.
We begin with this Fox News alert. President Trump has the world's attention now. He came through on a campaign promise.
If the tariff
Any clip you see behind my videos, that is just for algorithm. You can stop here. God bless you abundantly. Please always share the videos. It motivates me and the algorithm picking up to recommend.
Cowboy Carter.
DEI is not a threat, it's a gift.
If Taylor wins, she could become the first artist.
Right, make her feel good.
It's essential.
Early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
To her.
No, the EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade, and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And because, final point for me, a year and a half is because...
This is the United States.
You're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit.
This lady is not unstopped.
Where awful things have happened. So
and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag
are a functionality in policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need...
He's been trained his whole life to do. What do we do?
Right now you're looking history, remember it.
As a country about
and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know.
Jordan.
In the 5 tenants of
Palisades Village right here. This is the town center of sorts.
And he did this little dance.
Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii. Had some.
And then we watch news or talk to my friends.
Now look, I have a lot of fear.
This is not